the Bay of La Paz is estimated to have one of the highest fish richness in the Northeast Pacific. The second survey site in our study is the Revelagedo National Park, also called RNP. The archipelago consists of 4 islands and exhibit high fish biodiversity. Due to the limitation of research funding and technology, our understanding of the mesophotic zone is limited. In terms of technology, the mesophotic zone is relatively shallow compared to the depths explored by large deep-sea submersibles. There are 2 purposes in our study. The first is to investigate the diversity of fish species in the biogeographical provinces of BLP and RNP. And the second is to compare the influence of reef habitats and non-reef habitats on fish diversity patterns at mesophotic depths. In our study, we use a portable remotely operated vehicle equipped with lights, cameras, and sensors that measure temperature and depth. At each study site, we descend ROV to the seafloor and begin roving swim surveys, which are highly effective in quantifying species diversity. As shown in the right picture, each dot represents one study site, and all the study sites are around these 5 islands. Sites were chosen based on these 3 reasons, like sea surface, clarity, bathymetry, and day-off swell conditions. We compiled information from Robson and Allen, Ocean Biogeographic Information System, and FishBase to identify fish, and algae were identified using herbarium records. The numbers on the pie chart show the number of species found in each family in this study. Serenidae had the highest number of observed species, with a total of 10. And the other, like Caronidae, Labridae, Lutrondae, and Pomacanthidae, are about 5 species. And we totally recorded 66 fish species in the study. And we also found a new geographical record of Galapagos snake eel. This snake eel was previously only registered in Galapagos and Cocos Island. And this species was observed twice on the video during the surveys around Calarian Island. And this figure shows the depth observations of fish species in reef and non-reef. The horizon line in the figure means the average depth for each species, and the box represents the 25th and 75th quartile values. And the vertical lines extend above and below the box represent the standard error, and the points represent the outlier values. Most fish species were found throughout the survey depths. However, some of the fish species prefer shallower depths, like surgeonfish and pufferfish. And some fish prefer for the deeper depths, like snapper and the 2 other fish. And this figure shows the fish species richness by temperature and habitat types, including reef and non-reef. And the points represent the transects, and the lines represent the linear least squares regression of richness by habitat, which is the statistical method. And the shaded area indicates 95% confidence interval. When the shaded area is narrower, the model's predictions are more stable, making the result more reliable. The result indicates that richness increased with temperature and was greater in reef habitats than non-reef habitats. Let's review the purpose of this study. The first is to investigate the diversity of fish species in the biogeographical provinces of BLP and RMP. And this research identified 66 fish species in total and extend the known depth range of 9 species. And the second is to compare the influence of reef habitats and non-reef habitats on fish diversity patterns at mesophotic depth. And the results the results show that fish species richness was significantly higher in reef habitats than in non-reef habitats. The main conclusion of this research is that expanding the use of ROV technology can enhance monitoring efforts, ensuring appropriate habitat-specific management and conservation. And this is my presentation. Thank you for your listening.
I just want to ask about, is the article mentioned about how they find 就是它要怎么算这个鱼类的深度？对。
They use the video. They
use the video.
They put the RV into the seafloor, and the camera will take the video.
Only the video record.
It will be recorded, and they count the different types of the fish species.
So will they make the RV follow the fishes to make sure they only on the?
I don't know if they will. The researcher will on the boat and put the RV into the seafloor, but I don't know if they can monitor the RV's image right away. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Did you mention that the time they use the RV to record the image of the fishes?
They just say
for the days.
Their video, the time for the video is due to their battery, but they don't mention how many hours they don't mention it.
Will the depth influence the appearance of those fish?
Maybe the fish prefer they originally live there. Some fish like to live in the deeper area, and some live in the shallower area.
Oh, okay.
So why studying the diversity of fish species matters?
Because they want to have a policy to protect that area's fishes, so they have to know the diversity of fish species in that area, and they can have the reference to manage that area. And they want to circle one area to protect that fish in them, so they have to know the numbers or the
you show that 25th and 75th quartile values, what it means. In a feature, what it means.
50%.
50% of this fish here.
I will search it. Sorry.
Okay, so this is a simple, straightforward study, and I think she did a good job, but still always place for improvement. So, so first of all, she has these introduction slides, and these are all okay and nicely introduced. Let me think. Referring to, okay, I think in your introduction slides, you introduce the definition of mesophotic zone, and then you introduce the study area, right? I think what was missing is you have to think about Haley's question. So, why does fish diversity matters? Why does it matter? So, I think that's a very general question for biologists. A very general question. So next time, I hope you can answer this with some prepared slide. Why should we use this advanced technology of light ROV to study the diversity in mesophotic zone? Why does it matter? Okay, and then there is a. I really think this is a little bit funny because I don't actually know where I'm looking at. I think if you want to display this figure, you have to refer to this one, the way it is showed. You have to show original slide before you show it in large map. Otherwise, we don't know where. Maybe it's from the moon. I don't know. Okay, and then I like the icon. Okay, I'm glad to see you have this purpose, and then you have you redefine abbreviations, and then you reuse the purpose. These are all nice. And instruments, this is good. However, you have to think about that question. I think some of them, 1, 2, 3, the first 3 questions are more or less related to ROV. So if I were you, considering that you have only 8 minutes, if I were you, and actually that's also the advantage of ROV, I would probably search the researcher's website, or maybe it's from an organization, to see if they have any footage, any video from this survey, and look for the footage, and then you can maybe edit the footage to make it shorter, to show, okay, that's how the fish really looks like in the subsurface ocean. That would be interesting. But you need to do more search to see if you can find relevant footage. Actually, even if you don't use their footage, you look for another footage, we won't know that. You know what I mean? But this is just a way to enrich your presentation and also add more content. I really don't know what's this day of swell condition. I don't know if that's important. If it is not, maybe you can take it out. I actually get, it's like, what's that? Okay. Do you know what's that? Okay, think about it. And here, this one is really nice. I like it very much because, first of all, this is a self-made image, I guess, right? You make it yourself by Excel? Other, okay. So this, because basically in this paper, there's no real good figure, okay? So I think she did a lot of job by making it easier for you. So see, this is her self-made, and these are all added by herself. So this is really nice. I like this. And I also like that some highlight, like, oh, this species, we never seen this before, something like that. This is nice. Okay. Okay, and this you enlarge later to explain details. Okay. I actually don't know whether they mentioned like because generally in national parks, not every national park does this kind of survey using ROV. So did they reach a conclusion like after using ROV, how many more species were found? Did they provide this information? Yeah, that kind of information will better justify the use of ROV to conduct this kind of study instead of using scuba divers, because scuba divers usually dive only down to 30 meters, and this is down to 90 meters. So I hope that next time you can provide this kind of information and you can draw a line. I think it's usually 30. Here, that's the depth of scuba divers. And you can tell, okay, how many species cannot be identified without scuba divers. That's a very easy way to do that. Okay, And here, and then maybe you can give us a concluding remark. And here, let's see your concluding remark. Okay, richness was greater in, okay, then good. I was thinking, did you mention this concluding remark? Like reef was higher than non-reef habitats, but you did, good. Okay, so I hope that next time you can tell us, show maybe some footage of ROV, and then you have to highlight the advantage of having ROV data for diversity survey. And then I think that's really it. But overall, I think it's a very nice talk. So thank you, Sheila.